Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of This Week in Reselling After Dark.
After Dark.
And guys, we're here probably with one of the spiciest guests ever. I don't even know where to start. I don't know where to start. There's so much to get into. You've been arrested at the bins before.
Who told you that? No.
Let's start there.
Caliente.
What was the latest thing? Didn't you allegedly hit some girl's car?
Oh yeah. So that was at the post office. Yeah.
The post office.
So I have a transit van, and that's what we use to go to the post office because we have so many packages. And I went to my regular post office. They told me that they're out of equipment. They weren't accepting packages, and I was like, "Well, that's your whole job is to take packages. I have no idea why you take packages."
All right. Yeah.
I'm sorry, but we're not working today.
Yeah, they're like, okay, yeah, that's true and all, but we don't have any equipment. So we are going, since I'm a regular, I have a spot in the back that I drop because I drop off every day. They're like, look, this is the postmaster. We called the other locations down the street. They know you're coming. Just go there. They're going to take your packages. And I said, okay, thank you so much. So I go there. I'm backing into the front because they don't have a loading dock at this one. It's in the middle of a neighborhood. This post office is in the middle of a neighborhood. It's a very small one. So I'm just backing into a parking spot. And when I open my door, there's a Mercedes that's like parked crooked, and my door hits their side mirror. And obviously I'm not trying to hit somebody's door. So I just said out loud, sorry, just because I want to put it out in the ethos that wasn't on purpose in case they were walking up and saw it, or I didn't even know the lady was in the car. So she jumped out of her car and was like, hey, a-hole, you just hit my Mercedes. And I was just like, oh, I'm sorry. I think I hit your mirror. There's no damage. I looked at it. I showed her. I was like, look, nothing happened. She goes, there's no physical damage, but there's emotional damage.
Oh my God.
And I just laughed out loud because I didn't know what else to do. No one's ever said that to me. So I was just like, and I just walked off. What am I supposed to do?
I would have done the same thing. I would have been like, are you serious?
You should have been like, no, go ahead.
So in my brain, I was just like, that was odd. So I go inside because I didn't want to start loading. I had 112 packages. I didn't want to start unloading them because they usually give me a cart at my regular location. So I went in there and I was like, hey, I'm supposed to be dropping off here. And I was like, can I get a roller? And they're like, no, we don't give those out because they don't come back. And I'm like, so what am I supposed to do? And they're like, you can just carry them and set them down here. And I was like, I got 112. They're like, well, you could do them a few at a time. I was like, oh, great, awesome. So I go back out to my car, and as I'm walking out, I see her walking around my car filming. And so I immediately, I'm a content creator. I put my phone out, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be good. And I was like, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm filming for damages. And I was like, there's no damage on my car, especially not on that side. And she's like, this is an E350. I know you probably don't understand how much that costs, but it's a lot of money. And I was like, yeah, and you already said there was no damage, just emotional damage. And she goes, I'm calling the police. And I was like, yeah, please do that. And then she just stood there looking at me, and I was like, do you need the number? It's 911. And then she just lost it at that point. So then I just got in my car and sat there until the cops come. I actually called them too. I called the non-emergency line. I was like, hey, there's a lady calling in. I guess because I bumped her car. Do I have to stick around for this? And they're like, if she's already called, you have to stay. And I was like, okay, cool. So they showed up. She immediately started yelling at the officer.
Bad move.
And I was like,
bad move.
I was like, I'm out of this. This is no problem.
Mm-hmm.
So two officers showed up, an elderly female officer and a male officer. The female officer had a fever blister.
There we go.
The female officer had a fever blister, and so when they took our license and insurance and went to the car and ran the stuff, when she came back, she handed me my license and insurance. She went to hand the lady her license and insurance, and the lady goes, I'm not touching that. And she's like, excuse me? And she's like, look at that thing on your lip. I don't know what you have. I'm not touching that. You can set it on the ground and I'll get some antibacterial and I will clean it. But you shouldn't have touched my stuff having that on your lip. And then the male officer was like, ma'am, that's being disrespectful. And then that lady goes, no, it's disrespectful that she has that on her face.
Dang.
And then the cops just looked at me and they're like, sir, you're free to go. And I'm like, oh, man, they're going to shoot this lady.
It's like, peace out.
Yeah.
And you never heard anything else? You were like...
Nothing.
I
But
wonder
this
what
is
happened.
that's the kind of stuff that is attracted to me. I need to have GoPros on me at all times because it's either somebody stopping me to ask me about my tattoos or somebody just trying to, I don't know, be awkward.
Be weird. Yeah.
It's like she,
Yeah, just
it's like she has nothing better to do than to fucking start a,
dude, when she said it is disrespectful to have that on your
Where
face.
you're like, whoa, I am off scot free.
I was like, I am about to record something that is going to be on the dark web.
right?
But as far as the arrest,
That was in the Goodwill bins.
that was at the bins, and I feel like they did that just to like make an example, which turned out to backfire on them because I was released and then I ran right back in, kept my whatnot running the whole time thanks to Stacy, and I went right back to selling stuff.
So the whole time that you're getting arrested, the whatnot is running.
Yes, I'm running in the corner. I see the police come in, and I'm like, I bet they're here for me. I say that on the whatnot stream because when the doors open at our Goodwill, the doors open at 8 o'clock, and they're the automatic doors that just slide open.
Yeah.
So at 8 o'clock, at like 7:30, everybody's like piled at the door. I don't know why, but they've always done it. Like Black Friday, they're just piled at the door.
Yeah.
And when they open the
like
doors,
they're gonna find
a
PS5 in the bins.
when they
Dude,
open the door at 8, everybody pushes and shoves and runs in. So we usually are in the back because I'm like, I don't care about it. I just want a cart. I need 2 carts. That's it. I don't care about anything else. I'll find stuff. I just need my carts because I can't do my shows without my carts. So that day there was actually so many people there that there was people behind us. I'd overlook around when the doors open. I'm just concentrating on getting my carts. Apparently there was 3 regular elderly Hispanic women behind me. And what happened is at 7:59, the manager tried to open the door and it didn't open, but everybody had already started the little tush push.
Yeah.
So we're all just pushed into each other. And then I just do that. Like, get off me. Like, get off me.
Right.
And apparently that assaulted those 3 Hispanic women who, to give you the backstory, they're kind of like, I don't want to say that they're our enemies, but they're also bins regulars that we have to fight against for product because they're big sellers at the flea market. But they've never really been they've never been competition for me, but they've always looked at us as like
Competition in general.
Yeah. So this was an easy way. So they all 3 put their heads together.
They're like, oh yeah, let's get him out of here.
Let's get him out of here. Let's call the police. But they waited 5 hours to call the police.
Ooh.
The doors
They wanted to make sure they got the good stuff.
The incident happened at 8. Police didn't show up until 1:30. So I'm live.
Crazy.
I'm live. They asked me if I could step to the side. I was like, "What's the problem, officer?" Kept the camera. Oh wait, what happened? I keep the camera rolling. Did I do that? How did I do that? I didn't touch my camera. There we go.
Yeah.
I was like,
Hey, he's gone.
Am
no, he's gone.
I here? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
What did I do? No,
You're good.
Oh, you're good
You're
now.
good.
Yeah.
I hate my life.
I hate my life. too.
I'm messing up my story. Keep the camera rolling. So you can't see me, but you can hear, and
We can see you.
Yep.
Oh, I'm talking about on the whatnot. So
Oh,
you can
gotcha.
you can't see me, but you can hear the officers talking to me, and they're like, "We're here because of a claim about assault, blah blah blah." And they're like, what we're gonna do for the safety of others is we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna restrain you at this time. And I was like, the safety of am I a threat? Do I appear to be a threat? And they're like, no, so it's for safety. I was like, oh, okay. So they do the whole pat me down on the wall and then handcuff me.
Dang, on the wall?
Yeah, I make a joke about the one of the officers is a rookie, and so he asked me if the handcuffs are too tight. I make a joke and telling him that my wife actually puts them on tighter at nighttime. He didn't find that funny. They escort me out in a parade and put me in a back of a hot car in Houston, Texas for like an
Were the
hour.
ladies clapping as you were
For an
getting-
hour.
Yeah, for like an hour while they're gathering their
Information.
information. And you know, it's not my first rodeo, unfortunately. So I'm just waiting for them to come out to the car. They come out to the car. I asked them, am I being detained or am I being arrested? Because I've already been detained. Am I being arrested? They said, not at this point. I said, am I free to go? They said, not at this point. I said, so I am being detained. And they said, yes, currently you are being detained. I said, what am I being charged with? They said, currently nothing. I was like, then why am I being detained?
Mm-hmm.
And then I said, have you taken any witness statements for me? And they said, no, we've only gotten witness statements for the other party. I said, well, you've taken no witness statements from me. My wife is in there. Also, I need you to speak to the manager. Here's his name. Here's his cell phone number. You need to see if there's cameras of the incident. I went crazy on him.
Mm-hmm.
So the guy's like overwhelmed. He goes back inside. He comes back out. He's like, we're going to go ahead and let you go. There's no video footage. The manager said that you didn't do what they're accusing you of doing. And apparently this happens every morning with the shoving at the front door. So we're going to go ahead and let you go. I'm like, yeah, it's because I started speaking smart. I started speaking correctly, the right
Mm-hmm.
terms. So they
Like,
let me
oh,
go.
this tattoo guy actually knows what.
Yeah,
He's actually smarter than
they
we
let me
think.
go. I said, "Am I allowed to go back into the store, or do I have to leave for the day?" They're like, "You're allowed to go back into the store. I would just try and stay away from the people that called because again, this is
From Maria, Juanita, and
yeah, I didn't want to go that bad.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's going to be a separate video. Oh, he's racist. Did you hear he said it was Juanita? Um, they're like, I would stay away from these people because now it's documented that they've called in about you. So if they call in again, we're going to have to take you no matter what. I was like, so all they have to do is call tomorrow and you're
right.
automatically going to take me without any evidence? I was like, it doesn't sound like that's how this works, but okay. And I ran back inside, got back on whatnot, and I think we made like another 700 or $800 that day. And I had the biggest crappy smile on my face the whole time.
You
Like
should
when I
just
walked back in, I just like,
right? You're like,
Like, I'm back, baby.
Yep.
high fiving toddlers that are running around playing with
That's right.
toys.
you should have called the police on them, like just
Yeah.
just
So
so you.
that's what it was. It was literally just competition trying to figure out a way to take me out.
When you said you were in the door in the beginning, like at 7:30, I imagine like your face was like pressed against the glass. And,
Oh,
like,
dude, it's
you
the
couldn't move and shit,
worst.
like,
I've done a few videos where I try and film it, but then like all you see is when the door opens, my camera's just it's
Yeah.
Shaking.
it's crazy. I don't even understand. I still to this day, every time we go, I don't understand like the point.
when I went to the one of the bins in downtown St. Louis, it's like you gotta wait, and then it's like they open the doors and everything, but people like legit take off running to the clothes, like I mean full on sprint to the clothes. I'm like, is it that serious? Like I know,
Like
we're
people
all
get
here.
mad at me all the time because I tell them that there's not really a lot of skill to the bins. It's luck.
Right? Yeah, it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Now there is skill as far as like digging to the bottom of every bin that's already been touched and touching every piece and knowing brands. That's a
Mhm.
skill that you can build up. But as far as just like they roll out a new row and you happen to be standing in front of the bin that has the nice item in front of it, that's 100% luck. There's no
Mhm.
skill involved.
Right.
So why you just take off running? It doesn't. I don't know.
But I feel like it's the t-shirt bros that do that.
Oh,
Those
here it's everybody. I
is it?
just want my cart. I don't care. Like, you're running to, and usually what happens is the stuff that there's only. So let's say our bins has 7 rows, and each row has 14 bins. Only 2 or 3 of those rows have actually been swapped out from when they closed the night before.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you're running full speed to go look at stuff that was already there yesterday, and you
Yeah.
were there yesterday, so you've already touched it. What are
Right.
you running? What are you running for?
Insane.
I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it.
What was Stacy doing this whole time when you were in the cop car? Or your wife?
Crying.
Really? Oh man, that's tough.
Yeah. And then trying to figure out how she's going to she had to unplug all the stuff, and then like now she's got 2 carts full of stuff. Does she check out with it? Does she not? Luckily she took my wallet out of my pocket before they handcuffed me just in case. I was like, well, she needs to pay for this stuff and the money's in my wallet.
Yeah.
So just stupid all around.
So do you only go to like one bins and have shows, or you go to like
Just
the
just
three?
one location mainly because of it's literally like 4 miles from the house. But in my opinion, we've done all of the bins, and it is where most of the product that we sell is. And I've never gone live from another location. And each location I always kind of compare the bins to like if you've ever watched a prison show. There's clicks.
Yeah.
Every bins has their own click.
What are your clicks?
Our clicks at the bins are, we got the flea market crowd, which that is broken into two different.
Interclicks.
You've got the flea market Nicaraguans, and you've
Okay.
got the flea market Guatemalans, and they hate each other. They always beef, and they both of those groups have two bosses.
The
And
leaders.
those bosses aren't always there, but all their employees are always there. And when their bosses are there, there's
Oh.
usually we've literally watched a sit down.
Are the bosses the three Hispanic women that you assaulted?
Two of them are, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ooh.
two of them are.
And they're in the same clique?
No, but they came together to eliminate me.
Wow.
That's again, like if you've ever seen Blood In, Blood Out,
Yeah.
My enemy is my friend.
Yeah. On the
Yeah.
outside, we can be in all kinds of different Hispanic gangs, but on the inside, we got to stick together.
Yeah.
We got one enemy. So they came together for that. But we've actually, they get into it a lot.
Dang. So
Yeah,
what was
and
that
then-
sit down? What was the family?
There had been drama for the last few days at the bins, and
They squashed it?
they had to figure out something because the manager said he was going to kick them all out.
Dang.
So again, they got to come together to eliminate the one threat, which is losing our ability to do this. And they're actually spread out. They're actually spread out at all the locations. But then you've
Dang,
got
so it's like a whole operation.
Yeah, but then you've got like the vintage bros that have their own beef with the vintage bros at other locations, and then some of them intermingle. But for the most part, the ones at our location are the ones at our location, and when some that aren't from our location come, you can always see the tension.
The T-shirt
it's weird,
bros.
dude. It's so weird.
Is
I'm
it
just
that?
like-
It's not that serious. It can't be that
It's like
serious,
gangs.
man.
I'm like,
Legit
bro,
like gangs.
I'm like, bro, I'm just trying to make money. I don't.
Yeah, right.
I don't-
Have you ever had a run-in with the T-shirt bros? Like, do they
No,
respect
I mean-
Chris or?
No, so they just from the beginning they just don't really. I felt like they just don't really respect or understand what it is that I do or what we do. Now some of them are coming around and we support them on whatnot. They're doing really good. Shout out Exotic Primos. But a lot of the flack that I would hear in the beginning was that I'm just doing it for money and not for the culture. And my response to that is always, what culture? You talking about my culture, the 80s and 90s that you weren't alive for, that you're appropriating?
Yes.
Yeah,
for
I
real.
guess I am doing it for the cash. You're doing it for a culture that you weren't a part of. So you're actually
Yeah.
appropriating on my culture, which I find offensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Stop
you go
that.
collect your LeBron James jerseys and stop trying to pick up those Michael Jordan jerseys because
Yeah.
you weren't a part of that, buddy.
It's like, please tell me what song that band
Yeah.
sings. That
Oh,
you're
I do
wearing.
that all the time, bro.
Dude,
When they're
name-
holding up
name 3
shirts, I'm
songs.
like, yo, name 3 songs or I'm gonna rip that right now.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, so I mean, I understand why they don't like me. I'm a bit of a dick, but I mean, I again, that's always been my counter. I'm like, look, hey, you got a cool shirt. That's awesome. You're just trying to make money. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the point. I don't live with my parents, and I got bills to pay and children. I don't get to just hang out here for 8 hours and buy 2 T-shirts.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But I love you guys.
Dude, seriously, that's what it is. Like the kids at mine, it's like high school, like early 20s kids. Dude, they'll be there all day, and like it's really worth it for 4 shirts in 12 hours. Like,
Yeah, I mean, the bins to the vintage community is the equivalent of a Starbucks to somebody that has a cool Apple MacBook. It's just somewhere you can hang out and show people, hey, look, I have a MacBook.
Yeah,
I'm doing
yeah.
important things. Look at me, I'm doing important things while drinking coffee in public.
Right? Oh,
I was like, oh, you don't have
Like,
Wi-Fi
get
at
over
your house,
yourself.
bro? You don't have
Right.
Wi-Fi at the house?
that's crazy.
and it's
So-
like,
Have you ever seen where a T-shirt bro will pass up something, knowing that it's like, oh, if they pass this up, you know that you're gonna make bank.
Dude, Stacy snipes them on stuff that they don't know all the time. And then, so if anybody doesn't know, my wife doesn't do anything on camera. She is very camera shy, doesn't do any of that stuff. But if she finds something that they passed over, because most of the vintage kids we call them, they're top feeders. They just top feed. They don't actually dig. So if she finds something in a bin that like 4 of them went through, she will publicly let them know.
Dang.
She'll be like, hey, you missed this. Just wanted you to know. Yep. I'm just like, damn, I don't even do that.
Dude, I find so many vintage hats like that, like because they don't dig to the bottom, and I was like, dude, I've come up with like so many sports specialties hats. I'm like, how do you miss this?
Yeah, and she'll
You know?
she'll do that with like designer stuff too. That like the people there that are like she's found like in February alone, I think she found 12 Johnny Was, which
Wow.
is like a huge brand.
Yeah.
That these women are these boutique women are out there digging for, and she just digs to the bottom and touches every piece. That's the reason our stream
she's feeling the materials.
yeah. That's the reason our stream is so successful, in my opinion, is because I can bring the entertainment value, but the main reason it works is because while I'm running the show, she's digging and finding stuff. So it's a 2-person operation. Because if we've like yesterday, our youngest was 6, so she had to stay home. So I did the bins by myself and ran the show, and it was horrible. As far as like monetary wise, like I didn't even hit half of what we usually get because I have to stop digging. And so what I have found is all I get to run. Now I pass out little cards in Spanish telling people this is what I give them just like the top 10 brands that I usually find. I'm looking for these brands. I'll pay this much.
Yeah.
So I have little cards that I pass out in Spanish to try and get people like, I'll pay you cash while you're in the bins. Just find that and bring it to me. And there's 2 reasons I did that. One is because I want people to bring me inventory, and 2, because I wanted those rival gangs to know that I'm trying to steal their employees. Because I found out how much that they pay them, and I can pay them way more.
How much? Can you tell us how much they are paying them?
They pay them $1 per pound that they purchase. So if they find 50 pounds worth of stuff, they'll give them $100. I'm sorry, they'll give them $50.
$50.
Yeah, I was gonna say, hold on.
So you probably give them $2 a pound.
They have to buy the inventory, and then they give them $50 for the weight. So
That's dumb.
They're
like
paying.
losing money sometimes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So what are you paying them?
I'll pay them $2 for a shirt, $3 for pants, $5 for purses and shoes. And that is like an exuberant amount of money compared to what they're being paid.
Oh.
And so I know that I'm going to eventually have a sit down here soon.
Right? I was going to say, have you had any talks yet?
And I'm going to have a translator because the only word I ever know that I hear them call me is pendejo.
So now, aren't you getting employees and stuff like what does that look like now?
So yeah, I posted my first we're buying instead of a we're hiring, we're buying ad on Instagram, and then also it shared it to my Facebook, and I'm gonna make a video as well so I can broadcast it on YouTube. But basically, I just post that out there. I gave a very simple instruction of put bins in the subject when you email. And the reason I got this from Renzi, the reason that you put something simple like that is because I got flooded with DMs and people commenting about wanting to do it, but I only had 17 people that actually followed the rules and put bins in the subject. So that eliminated all those other people, because if they can't follow the first step, they're not going to follow the third step. So out of those 17 people, I send them a pre-scripted thing just saying, hey, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I want to do. This is how this works. Here is a condensed version, the condensed brand list. After reading this, if you're still on board, reply with this. I'll send you the full list and then tell you how it goes after that. And so out of that, we have had 7, I think I got one this morning, that have actually said working on a box. And from that, we've already received 3 boxes. I just did a buyout this morning for a lady sending me 86 items. So that's that's basically a show. She's sending me a show.
I was going to ask how many you usually run per show.
At the bins, we'll try to run right around 150 to 200 items. But what we've started doing is we've condensing it down to stuff that I know will sell. So I'm not really wasting the time.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And then we'll have a pile of, we could try, but I know we've never sold this before. So now it's just a repeated pattern, since our whatnot is built up to cater to resellers so they can make money.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just a wholesaler. I'm trying to sell the stuff that they have consistently bought. So I made a video calling, I called it the 1090 rule, which is not something I created, but it's something that almost all entrepreneurs and business people do, is they focus all of their energy on the 10% of where their money's coming from instead of the 90%. And so what I do is I use the Whatnot analytics, which will tell you who your top 10 buyers are. And I go and I look at what those top 10 people are buying and I source that stuff. Because what happens is they're going to buy it because they've proven to me that they purchased those items. They'll keep buying it. And then what it's going to do is it's going to raise the 90% of my buyers to start buying better stuff too. So they're becoming better buyers, and my top 10 is being consistently fed what they want to pay for. So my money continues to go up.
Right.
Instead of, I got 90% of my people buying $3 items. Let me go find more $3 items. I'm not going to go down to their level. It sounds negative when you say it like that, but I'm not going to go down to their level. I'd rather keep selling the $10 items to these 10 people and then hope that these $3 people become $10 people.
Right.
Makes
It's
sense.
like the reward program that Whatnot created, but without having to do the reward. So my reward is I occasionally just throw an item into a top 10 person's box when they buy them. Like, hey, thanks for being a supporter. Like, like I'll just give them like a Vera Bradley belt bag. There you go. Thanks for being one of my top 10.
You won't include like a pet, like some armpit hair, like a like,
I have had people say, hey, was that a beard hair in my package? I was like, yeah, probably.
It's like,
The tape
maybe.
gun, me and the tape gun have a little weird chemistry towards the end of it. Sometimes it gets me.
It's hilarious. Gosh, I had a
How many days a week are you selling now? So it's Tuesday. Are you selling today? Probably
We're
not.
off on Tuesdays. Tuesdays when I do all my podcasting and I do all my we try to get all of our business done as far as on the back end. So Tuesdays, like when we do like check in with the CPA, check in with the bookkeeper. I respond to all the emails I need to take care of. We try to do the post office, and then we try to get all that done right around by 1:00, and then we have until 6 till the kids are home. So then we try to do stuff for us, like we go to the movies or.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Try to remember that we are people.
Yeah. Because that can be a lot, right? Like,
yeah.
Because you're constantly like having to deal with all this stuff.
Yeah. So
shipping
today's Tuesday, we have a baseball game today. I'm assistant coach. So when we pick up the kids, I throw on a Phillies jersey and pretend like I don't look like the Kool-Aid man. And, and we have baseball, and then tomorrow we'll be right at the bins, and then Thursday's the bins, Wednesday's the good fair, and then Thursday's the bins, Friday's the bins, and we try not to do shows on the weekends because of like the kids' activities, gymnastics and sports and stuff like that. So 4 days a week is our current stream schedule. If we aren't hitting our numbers, we'll add a fifth day, but that's solely just if we want to if we're behind on our numbers, which so far we haven't been. So
that's good. And I like that you said that because you have a set goal that you have to meet every week.
Correct.
You're like, okay, we need to get another day in because we need to hit this day. We need to hit that number.
For sure. And it's, I have a group of what I call like my TED Talk mentor masterclass people that I try and bounce ideas off of, and they bounce ideas off us. One of them is Ryan from Renzi Now. That's why we started the Secret Sauce podcast. Shout out, little plug there.
There we go. We'll put it down below in the link.
So the second episode is we're streaming. So what we wanted to do is I wanted to start podcasting on Whatnot because I talk about Whatnot. And what better place to talk about it than on the platform that people are there to be on Whatnot?
Facts.
So we do the Secret Sauce podcast on Whatnot where we answer questions. We tell people exactly what we're doing in our business. We don't charge anybody. It's just like a masterclass. Like, hey, what strategies are you implementing into your business this month? And I tell them like, oh, this is something I've been thinking about doing. Last episode, Ryan was talking about flash sales and how they're a new thing and how they're able to sell 100 items in 10 seconds by having flash sales. And so
that's crazy.
We got that one coming up on the 25th. But one of the things that we both have always done is you have your big goal and then you figure out how to get to it. And of course, I don't have the page available on I'm still old school. I just write on paper and pen. Oh, here we go. So like the flip the world teams, the big goal is to have an office warehouse, and then inventory comes in, it's sorted, and then we have split it, and then it breaks it down all the way to the smallest goal of how to make that big goal happen. And so that's what I do with the money too. I know what we want to hit for the year. I break that down into months. I break that down into weeks. I break that down into days. And that lets me know each day I have to hit this amount. If I don't hit it, then whatever the access now carries over or spreads out through the other 3 shows. And if we don't hit that by the 4th show, guess what? We're having a 5th show.
Okay.
I'm just, if you're watching this and listening to this, you're looking at Chris, right? And he's this
Idiot.
crazy looking fella, tattoos on his head, literally. But listen to what he just said, guys. He ain't crazy. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, he's got this huge goal and he breaks it down and he has all these little things. I don't think that people do that enough, Chris. Like, they have this grand thought process. Like, I want to make $100,000 reselling on whatnot. How are you going to get to that point?
Yeah. Everything is everything, not just reselling, but everything can be broken down into simple steps to make it work. Like, how do I want to lose weight? Okay, well, look at, this is what I'm eating, this is what I need to not eat. Everything can be broken down into simple steps. The reason that people I see so many people that I think could be good on whatnot, if we're just talking about reselling, that are failing at it because they just go on there haphazardly. Like, they don't have, these are my items I'm going to sell, but they don't like have a realistic goal of what do I want to get out of this show. So whenever I used to sell on eBay, we were doing the tech and sports method where we were listing 40 items a day. But not only were we listing 40 items a day, I wanted to make sure that 40 items was adding at least $10,000 to my eBay store total in projected sales. I wanted to add at least enough inventory to where it's at least an adding 10K. So when I'm setting up 100 items for a whatnot show with my start prices in my head, I want to know that I'm adding this much money worth that I should expect to get. And then from there, I know what my minimum is. Okay. If I'm putting 100 items, I want to be able to make at least $2,000. But if I make $1,750 because some of the stuff didn't start, let's say I ran something at $6 and it didn't sell, so I had to drop the price and then it sold. As long as I make $1,750, then it's still a win. So in my head, I know where I need to be. And then since you can check where your money's at by clicking on the little thing while you're running live, I know if I'm on pace or not. An hour and a half into my stream, I know if I'm going to hit my goal or not. And if I know I'm not going to hit my goal, then I can, in my brain, I can change the show. Okay, well, maybe I need to start going sudden death because if I'm not going to hit my goal, I don't want to waste another hour and a half streaming. Let me just get all this stuff run, and then I have the rest of my day to figure out the next move, because time is something you can't buy, you can't get back. So I'm not going to, if I already know the show's not going to work, I'm not going to drag it out for 2 hours and just beat this dead horse for 2 hours and I know I'm not going to hit my goal. I'm just going to get in, get out, do what I can, and move on, and then refocus on to the next day.
Yeah. And there's days like that, right?
Yesterday was that day. I knew it was going to suck. Stacy wasn't there. I knew I didn't have enough inventory. The bins have not been good. So I knew I was going to be running 10-second show, 10-second starts. And then if it didn't sell at the start price, then if it was good enough, I would set it to the side and I'd do a repass later in the show. But if it didn't sell for that price and I didn't think it was worth running again, I tossed it, never to be seen again. Keep it moving.
Keep it moving.
Yeah, but a lot of people are going into these whatnot shows or eBay or Poshmark, and they don't have an actual physical goal of what they want to do. They know what they want to do. I want to make $100,000, but they don't know how to do that on a daily basis that turns into a weekly, that turns into a monthly, that turns into a yearly. Because $100,000 is not a lot of money to do on eBay. What does it come out to? Like it's $150 sales a day. That's it.
Something like that, yeah.
That's easy. So like for 300K, I'm looking at my little dry erase board. 300K, 260 shows is the goal for the year, 260 streams. I need to do 1154 a day. Our average is 1420. So as long as I just keep doing what I'm doing and I'm adding on to it by having a second channel with other people selling and I have inventory coming to me, there's no way I shouldn't hit my goal. In fact, my goal is probably too small for this year. but I want to hit it just so I can tell myself you need to
You hit
bet
the
on
goal.
yourself. You need to bet on yourself more because you overachieved. Your goal was too small. You need to think bigger.
So your Flip the World team on Whatnot coming up, right? You have, I mean, I looked at it. You have a show coming up in a few days.
First show Saturday. Yes.
Yes. So do you just have one person that's going to be? Do you have one person so far that's doing this, or do you have a few lined up? Or
I have one person that is lined up so far. One person lined up so far to do 2 or 3 shows a week. And then what I'm going to do is once I have a consistent inventory coming in, because the last thing I wanted to do was tell 2 people that they're going to be going, and then I only have enough inventory for one. So once I know that I have enough inventory coming in, which realistically is going to be looking like 600 to 700 pieces a week.
It's pretty good.
I do have a second person that I think is going to just be amazing. That is going to come on and do 2 shows a week. So then I'll have them doing shows on whatever day and time is comfortable for them at their leisure, selling my stuff. That
What
way,
do you pay them like hourly or what commission off the top or like?
So that's the thing. So there's people that have already started doing this, and so I'm kind of networking with them and seeing what works. I know one guy is paying $25 an hour for his live streamer, and I know one person who is paying a split of the sale, and so I'm trying to figure out. So since
because that's more incentive on the person selling it, you know.
Correct.
If I get like a 20% of whatever we sell,
so that's my brain works more towards the incentive. When I was when I was a manager at the pest control company, I came up for a raise, and they were like, "Well, this is what we want to offer you," and I was like, "How about you pay me less salary and give me more commission split on what I sell?" And they're like, "Well, you could make less money this year if you go that route." I was like, "Yeah, but I'm betting on myself that I'm not going to." And they're like, "Okay." So, and then I crushed it. I made so much money that they had to put a ceiling on it. They're like, "Hey, look, you're making more than the goddamn, you're making more than the VP, so we can't do this anymore." And that's another reason I knew I was going to start my own company.
They're like, that's enough.
Put a cap.
It's enough of that shit. That's
I was
enough
like,
of that.
I'm making you too much money by taking my little 7%. Oh, okay. I'll stop. Yeah. So it demoralized me to sell. So I'm thinking that if I get the right people to sell and I tell them like, "Hey, look, not only am I giving you 100% of the tips that come in because you're the one entertaining people. So if someone gives you a tip, you get 100% of that. I don't want it. That's your tip. So I'll give you all the tips that you can make, and then if I give them a percentage of the gross, I think it's going to make them be more entertaining. They're going to try harder. They're going to work harder. Because if I tell somebody, "Hey, I'll give you $25 an hour," they're going to work. If they do a show and make 10 grand and they're only getting $75 because it took them 3 hours.
Yeah,
they're going to be like,
they would have been you. They'll be like, I can do this on my own.
Yeah, then I'm going to have to look over my shoulder while I'm walking downtown to make sure somebody's not going to try and plug me, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't need that. I don't need to be a CEO like that. You said it was after hours.
I see what you did there. I see that. I see what you did.
So where are they doing the show at? At their house? At your place? Or what?
Yeah, for now it's going to be at their place of residence, or if they have like a space that they do their shows. But again, realistically, the long-term goal is to get an office space that has a warehouse. I'll create one of the offices to be the showroom, kind of like Daily Refinement. And then they will report there and do their show, and then they can do the shipping there. That way they don't have to do all that crap at their house. And that way also I can monitor it a little bit better.
Yeah.
Nice.
So one person for now, just to get the growing pains of figuring this out. And then from there, the goal is obviously to scale as soon as possible. And if we get in good with this rag house or with Good Fair, scaling might become a problem my problem will be not having space for it. So it all depends on how fast this is going to ramp up. But again, I like to try and almost have all the T's crossed and the I's dotted, but there's always going to be stuff that falls in that I'm going to have to like shuffle on the fly.
I love that idea. Then you can be sleeping and making money. You can be
that's the thing. Yeah. Then we don't have to be so reliant on the bins, because if the bins suck, then the day sucks, which then turns into then Chris, I'm a very stressed out person.
Then he sucks.
And then I suck because then I stress, and then it trickles down on the family. And then I got 8 kids plus Stacy telling me that I suck. And then I'm like, well, I already think I suck. And now y'all think I suck. I must suck.
Yeah. When did you come up with this idea of expanding and having other people?
Honestly, as soon as I realized that you could get approved for a second channel, and again, that was through Daily Refinement, I noticed that all of a sudden he had 4 channels that are running 24/7. And I was just like, this dude is literally printing money.
Wow.
The king of eBay is now printing money on another platform. I gotta get in. So I just honestly, I just messaged him. I was like, hey, how did you get a second seller account? And he's like, you ask. I was like, no shit, really? All you gotta do is ask. So I emailed Whatnot, and they were just like, you have to meet these metrics. And they were like, we'll review your account. And they reviewed my account. They're like, oh, you meet these metrics, and here's your second account. What would you like it to be called? And I was like, oh my God. So from there, it just became a point of how do I get that going? And honestly, I just kind of I'm copying Daily Refinement, but I'm not doing new with tag stuff at this point because I am really big, is anti-hippie as I am, I'm very big on sustainable sourced stuff. I think there is just too much new stuff coming out, and I'll never be able to compete with Shein and Zara and all these companies that can make
Fast
10,000.
fashion.
I can't
Yeah.
compete with that, but I can source good stuff and sell it and make a living and be successful at that. And I've proven that. So why would I jump into something that has a higher buy cost, lower margins when I can stick with abundance of used and buy it for dirt cheap and make my margins are much better.
Does he really have
Well,
4 channels going all the time?
Yeah.
Does he? Wow.
Yeah. And he only actually hosts a stream like maybe once a day, maybe twice a week.
Mm-hmm.
Like he built an empire on here very fast.
Right.
And
Love
it's just because he has like his brain is so analytical. I love picking his brain.
What would you say for the people that they're just tried Whatnot and it wasn't for them, you know, and they're like bashing it, like, you know, like
That's
you have
okay.
people that are.
Look, if you know, I'm not a fan of hip hop country. I don't like the last 10 years of country music. I'm not going to bash it. I just, you know, it's the same thing I tell people when they're like, oh, I don't like Flip the World's Whatnot stream because the things he says. It's like, hey, you know, that's cool. Just change the channel.
Mm-hmm.
Don't report me.
Yeah.
I just change the channel. Like
channel.
I don't.
Yeah.
The mind shift in the world where if you don't like something, you double down on giving it so much available space in your brain for free to just loathe it and hate it and try to destroy it versus just changing the channel and moving on. Just it doesn't make any sense to me. So if you tried Whatnot and you actually tried it, you didn't just like do it for a week and then realize and be like, oh, this sucks, I can't do this, this is only for popular people and blah blah blah, and you don't actually take the look and be like, okay, well, I was selling junk, my starting price was too high, I was running when this person goes live every day and they've had an established go time for the last 5 years, and I tried to compete with them in the same category. Like if you actually go through the checklist and you did everything the way that it should be done, and it wasn't, and you didn't like it, okay, you tried it, you move on. You know, I suck at basketball. I did it for a season. I realized that running is not good for fat people, and I stopped it. I did soccer for one season too, and I realized this is just more running after a different ball.
More running, yes.
Yeah.
Way more running.
And I stopped that immediately too. You know what I liked? I liked baseball because I could just hit it far and then trot. I didn't even have to run fast. If the coach is like, hey, you know, if you hit it over the fence, you can take your time around the bases. Say less, coach. Dingers, it is.
Facts. What would you say about all these other live selling apps? The
Uh,
last question will let you go.
I think they're similar to all the static platforms that started after eBay became successful. I think that anytime somebody is successful, people are going to copy it, and that's just, not only is that just human nature, but we're actually taught to do that. You know, we're taught that if somebody is successful in a field, you should You should be their protege. You
Replicate
should,
it.
yeah, you
Yeah.
should replicate it. Figure out how to replicate it in your own way. So, I mean, what it comes down to on those other live app platforms is funding and who's behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And so far, none of the other platforms have the funding behind it. I would say, and this hurts my heart because I'm so not a fan of Poshmark, but I think Poshmark Live or Facebook Live are are fighting for the second live auction platform.
I didn't even know Facebook had a live selling.
Well, you could. I think you could sell live on Facebook, but I see people that just sell stuff online, but then they're
Yeah.
in charge of having to figure out all the shipping
Yeah,
and all
that's
that
a
crap.
disaster.
Just like I know Instagram had it for a moment. I don't think they do anymore. Or TikTok. TikTok has the live, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think Posh is probably like the second most popular live selling platform because they've established it. But again, and this is just my opinion, Posh only caters to one group of people,
Yeah.
and I don't like emojis, so I don't go to Poshmark.
Well, there you go. There you go. Chris, this has been a treat like always.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming
Thanks,
on. I think
man.
we can be on here for hours. and
Yeah,
just-
Oh, yeah,
I love
easy.
doing
yeah.
I love doing podcasts. It's one of my favorite things is talking about talking about myself is always going to be something I enjoy. But only when it comes to things that I know that I'm passionate about and that I'm good at, and then I can hopefully give information. But I also love after these come out watching my follower and sub count go down because I'm like, all right, I said something.
They pissed
Yes.
him off. When do you and Reezy do the podcast on Whatnot? Is that like a
It's every other week. The next episode is the next show is on 3/25, March 25th.
325? Okay,
Yeah,
so
and
guys, where can they find that? The
Secret
master
sauce.
cla-
I'll
Secret
send you a
sauce.
link if you're going to add it to.
Yes.
I'll send you a
Yes,
link to it.
because I would love to hear that every other week. So
Yeah,
guys,
it's 100%
if you
free.
want to hear more about Whatnot, make sure to check out Chris's Whatnot channel. Make sure to check out his YouTube, his Instagram, all the good stuff.
But
And
don't
of course, if
report
you have
him.
any questions,
Please don't
you
report
know,
me.
yeah, don't report him. Don't report him.
Chris, when
I
are you
got
gonna,
kids.
Chris, when's the band going to hit the road again, though?
Oh man, so I don't talk about a lot of the music stuff because I don't want people showing up at the shows and making me awkward.
Yeah,
As cool and calm as I am, I actually am like publicly socially awkward. You can ask people that have come to the bins to like say hi to me. Like I'm very awkward personally. I don't know why I'm so comfortable.
It's
I
like,
guess 'cause
hey,
I guess because you guys saw a little bit of it at FlipCon. It takes
Yeah.
me a second to come out, but we got asked by one of my childhood favorite metal bands, Sepultura. They actually asked us to open for them, so we're playing at the Aztec Theater in San Antonio this month.
oh, let's go.
Nice.
It's
Nice.
pretty huge for doing this since high school to be playing in a theater that has got a lot of history behind it with one of
Yeah,
my
that's like a
favorite-
renowned theater,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
with one of my favorite bands growing up and that they asked us to do it because we opened for them here in Houston last year and they liked us so much that they came back and they're like, hey, can you do it in San Antonio? We're like, yes please.
Yes.
We'll be there.
Yes.
yeah, and don't worry, you don't have to pay us, I'll just show up.
Yeah.
We'll
Isn't that
pay-
crazy?
I'll pay
we're
you.
doing, we're doing stuff like that, and we're working on. We've sent each other some scratch tracks on some more music. So, I mean, we're still doing it, just not at the full level like we were when we were younger. Because we're all business. Our singer is in the oil and gas business. His family owns oil and gas, and the other guys are in finance, and we're a bunch of rejects that have done stuff with our lives.
They're super successful in every area that they do.
Yeah,
That's amazing. Well, Chris, thank you so much again for coming on. Make sure to check him out on
Thank
all
you.
the socials. So, my name is Ray,
I'm Joe.
I'm Brendan.
and we'll catch
I'm
you guys
Chris, but everyone
That's
calls me
on
Flip.
the flip side. See y'all. God bless. Peace.